Welcome everyone, this is Pineleaf Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Arendis.
Hey everybody.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello everyone, and let's dive into the news. First thing to note is that during the live stream recently, Cordovan has says that they have been testing the 64-bit client on the alpha server. So that has been working so far. So hopefully it'll get onto Bull Roarers soon. They're thinking that the next Bull Roarer build will include the 64-bit client, but not 100% sure yet on that matter. But let's see how that works. Now let's head into the Beacon, the LOTRO Beacon issue 103, where we have some people celebrating the Spring Festival.
Yeah, it looks like a mixture of musicians and dancers.
But usually musicians and dancers go together.
Yep.
That's in Dweeland, in case you need a location.
Yeah, it does look like Dweeland. It looked like a little bit strange on there, so I wasn't sure if they were doing a composite image in there. All right, let's head into our community spotlight. On March 24th, on Langeable, Before the Sun and Moon will be performed, a play adapted from the Silmarillion. And there'll be details there, but if you are listening to this after we post it, it's going to be too late. Hopefully, there will be some notes there saying how you could watch perhaps a video of it or something like that. And did you go to a day at the Greenfields? If you missed any of your favorite bands, you can check out Middle-earth Maiden's complete playlist of artists at her site. And there will be a folk music festival on, never mind on that. That was March 23rd. Yeah, that's going to be too late on. If you click on the link, maybe there'll be instructions for a video of it if it was recorded. So something like that YouTube doesn't like, so don't put any money on it being there. DNCO du Milieu announced their 4th edition of the Demure de l'Estrange, the House of Curiosities contest. You could check on the link for more information, and I don't know if anyone speaks French that might be able to pronounce that 10 times better than I just did. Apparently we have a lack of French. All right, I think we have a lack of French speakers here then. All right.
I just find it entertaining listening to you try and say it.
Yeah. Anyone who actually speaks French was probably cringing there, but that's beside the point. Fibro Jedi has updated his LOTRO Spring Festival guide for this year, and you can click on the link there. So I better click on that so I could check on it afterwards, just in case there's anything interesting there. Anyone check out the guide already?
I did, yes. There's mention of new quests, which makes me think I probably should check out Spring Festival. Cosmetics have been updated. And all the usual. Fibro Jedi does really good festival guides. There are even maps of the maze.
Maps of the maze. Ooh.
Yeah, if you're like me, you really need those.
Yeah, one can get lost in that place.
Yeah, I'd like to second the Fibro Jedi makes really good guides for festivals and stuff. The first time I did, I believe it was the Spring Festival last year, I would have been completely lost without it. So props to Fibro.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Then thank you, Fiber Jedi, for your map work. Let's then head into our weekly comment. What is the best advice you would give for navigating the Spring Festival Hedge Mage? And I have a feeling we just mentioned that. Oh,
look up a map.
Look up a map for Fiber Jedi's website. Let's then head into what?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's head into.
No, I mean, if we're gonna talk about the comment, the best advice that I would give is don't do it. And actually some of I was reading the forum actually because some of the comments are pretty entertaining. My favorite one is like the third one down. Step 1, try to brave it for the first time alone. Hey, practice makes perfect, and you can achieve anything with trial and error, right? Step 2, get utterly lost. Step 3, proceed to cry in a corner in embryo position until some bounder takes pity on you and escorts you out. Step 4, never try it again.
I mean, take deep breaths if you're in there. Just randomly go exploring. Make sure your milestone is already cooled down in case you need a quick exit.
Yes.
See, this is where 5-minute cooldowns come in handy, right?
Right. I noticed on your mini-map, the mini-map is quite clear now, though. So sometimes that was helpful.
That's a bug, though.
Oh, well, in that case, don't trust it.
Quite a few people in the comments said either bring a snack or bring ale and just keep drinking until you wake up near an egg.
I mean, delete is your friend, F10 is your friend, follow some other random player stealthily and hope that they know where they're going. No, following a
just
map.
Don't go in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you don't get all the cool stuff in there.
Yeah, it's worth doing at least one.
The in-league keg. The sinister thing that sends you cool places.
What?
Yeah, see, I fully support everybody else doing the maze, because then they will take pity on me and grind stuff out and leave it in my house.
Oh my goodness, I think this is my favorite. Someone in the forums wrote, "You know those kites they added, no one really knew why they were added or what they were used for? Well, now you know, with the brand new HOINKS, HOINKS, which is in parentheses, Hobbit Ordained Integrated Navigational Kite System, you can have your very own pair of eyes seeing from above. Buy now for the modest price of 500 LOTRO points, Hobbit not included, also SSG is against Hobbit cruelty, and used Hobbit-sized dolls on testing the kite. To get one Hobbit, travel to the old forest in the borders of Buckland and ask for Tom. You didn't hear it from us." That's perfect.
That's awesome.
Yes. I think we covered that well enough. So let's head to the Kin Hall. Rare Breed Kinship on Arkansas celebrates their 10th anniversary. Well, they just celebrated it an hour and a half ago from when we're recording this. And they're holding in the South Brief with parade, fireworks, ales, and tales. Afterwards, everyone is invited to the Rare Breed Kin House for general shenanigans. They might still be on those shenanigans now. Depends on how long they party. If you play a musical instrument, bring it along and play a tune. Though, of course, as I said before, this party started an hour and a half ago as we're recording this. And unless you're listening to this live, it's likely to be over already.
Hey, it's a 10-year anniversary, though. I mean,
Yeah.
They might have a secondary event or just extend the party, so you never know.
True. But if you wish to join this one and be able to be made aware when their 11th anniversary is, you could click on their site to find out more information about the Kin. Now let's head into fan site news. We have Gondor has no druids with Druids Fire, Epic Shenanigery with Tesla the Panda, Adventures After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa, Army of One, Fire Under Mountain, Mithril Edition, Flights of Fancy with Wayward Plane, ending in the Master's Manor for Legacy of the Necromancer Part 24. The road goes ever on with Gravity 42, LOTRO with Mort on the Glan server, Mythgard and Middle-earth with the Tolkien Professor, and the Spring Festival with Agent Brigman. And now for our screenshot of the week, we are in Rocking Borings with some springtime shenanigans, and apparently there is a fireworks dragon flying overhead.
I love that firework.
Yes.
Mhm.
How many times do you have to, how many screenshots you have to take before you get one where you have the dragon over the perfect position?
You don't even want to know.
Yes. Probably not.
As somebody who takes many, many screenshots trying to get just the right one, you really don't want to know.
Yes. We had a similar one on the Chronicle for DDO, I think it was last week, where someone was in the marketplace standing on the stairs right next to a silver dragon, and Drac is trying to figure out how in the world did they get that screenshot, because whenever he's in the marketplace and the silver dragon lands, he gets pushed so far away that he can't take any screenshots. But that's what happens, and that shows you the dedication that people who take some of these screenshots put into it. Now, let's go and see what we have for our LOTRO bonus days, where we have the Spring Festival. And that is now through April the 9th. And remember that we have the appreciation box as an apology for the extended downtime put in, and they have with it a code that will expire on April 30th, and this code is Reward 2019, and there will be one application of this code per account. So that's Reward 2019, which you must put in by April 30th, and it has all sorts of little things for your character. I can't remember what exactly they are off the top of my head. Things like XP bonus, XP boosts, and some other boosts like that.
Yeah.
Let's now head into our store sales. And Terry Adwin, is this week's store sale truly legendary?
But
I don't know if that
Yeah,
site was from
you
the
can
store sale or from my
Get
joke.
all your both. You can get all your legendary junk for 25% off this week. The legendary level cap increase, the legendary stat upgrade, the relics packs, legacies, legendary slot unlock, and legacy tier upgrades, and scroll of combination and relic removal scroll. Yay! Also, the weekly coupon gets you universal morale potion times 5 with coupon, like you don't get enough of those dropping out of Hobbit presents. With coupon Unimorale now through March 28th.
Yippity doo dah.
Yeah.
Then let's head into our site news, where this week we have a Contarlina's Corner for the elves and the dwarves, where we are continuing within the area of Eredluin, heading into the places such as Gondaman. And as usual, she talks about each of the sounds you will hear in the music as you go into each of the various areas.
Yes, and it was nice of her to wait and post this until like 15 minutes before we got on our show call tonight.
Well, yes, that is a little bit tricky on there.
Well, she did point out that which is something that I had never really noticed. The Dower Hands have their own musical theme in Ringdale, and I think it's really interesting just to read these articles from the perspective that she has, as someone who's really familiar with music, and I'm so not. So it's a very interesting perspective, and it's making me listen to the game music a little bit more closely than I had before. So yeah.
Okay. And how about Sam? Do you have any comments on this?
I've really enjoyed reading this. And yeah, it's definitely making me listen closer to the music too, because like my analysis of the music before this is like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like I'm in combat. Oh, maybe I'm in a dwarvish area. Oh, yep, look at the architecture.
Yep, this sounds elven to me. You know.
Right, and so it's just really cool to see her pull out some of the nuances and put words to it in ways that, like, oh yeah, like, that's a great way to describe what I was just saying, except it sounds so much better.
Yes. Does she have any comments on it?
Well, let me find out. She's sorry it took so long to post because she got sidetracked with school stuff.
All right. Then let's head into our new player question. And Arendis, what's the question this week?
Yeah, push it. The new player question this week is, how do you go about learning an in-game instrument? How do you get that started? I have never seen how to do that before.
If you're not a minstrel, you find a minstrel to teach you.
Okay.
And if you are, or you can look in the auction house and see if a minstrel has posted a tome to teach you. And if you're a minstrel, you might not be able to teach everybody how to play every instrument until you have read tomes about how to teach the instruments. Which can often be found on the auction house as well.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the rarer instruments for that. And also just remember that each character, except minstrels of course, get a small number of instruments. I think there are 4 instruments that everybody gets now. Everyone gets the lute. Half the classes get the horn, the other half of the classes get the clarinet. So that one's split over the... Now, when I'm talking about this, I mean, of course, minstrels get a lot more than this. Everyone gets the fiddle and the bassoon, I believe. So
you have
those
to
are
be taught how to play the drums. And
Yes,
minstrels don't know how to teach it without a tome, I believe.
That's correct.
Right. And the other thing to note is that for it's either the cowbell or the more cowbell that you get at the skirmish camp.
The more cowbell.
Yeah, it's more cowbell. You get a tome on how to. I believe the minstrels can get a tome on how to teach it, and that other classes can get one that teaches it to them. But
and
yes,
minstrels can't teach super often. It's like once a week or something.
It's under a week. I think it's every 5 or 6 days.
Okay. Yeah, there's a definite cooldown on it, so.
Yeah, it's a pretty long cooldown, and that's why if you go to an event like Ales and Tales or something that's similar to it, you'll often have announcements at the end of it. And if anyone here is looking for a minstrel to learn an instrument.
That was where my challenge mini got her song mentoring titles.
Yeah, sounds like, because that's what encourages the minstrels to do it. Of course, the minstrels are looking to get their titles, and of course, other classes are looking to learn to play certain instruments.
That was where I accidentally learned how to play the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what this entailed, and they're like, do you want to learn an instrument? I was like, yeah, I can only play like 2 instruments at the time. And
Yeah.
they're like, what do you want to learn? And I was like, I don't know, how much work does it take? I'm not that skilled, Ida. And they taught me the bagpipes. So, yeah,
Nice.
that's why my hunter can play the bagpipes. It's kind of awesome.
Interesting fact, the encore drum drops in the grand stairs, but the skill to teach the drum is a frequent drop in either Carndum or Urgarth. One of those instances is known to drop the skill. Also, it drops some Lore Master pet tomes. I got several of those from the Urgarth runs.
Nice. Yeah, I think my minstrels got that skill from the auction house so that they could teach my other characters to play the drums so that they could all use the invisible drums. Because using that little tome that you can create that teaches it, you can send it to your own alts and teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is a use for that particular item. Since I believe the cooldown on someone noted that the cooldown is much longer if you put it into a tome than if you taught them directly.
I think it's like 10 or 13 days.
Yeah.
It's really long.
It's pretty long. But every so often it's useful if all you wanted to do was teach one of your characters something.
Yeah, that does make sense. Then let's head into our week in LOTRO, and Arendas, what were you up to?
Well, this week I made it into Mirkwood for the first time on my main, so hooray for helping Elvish people.
Yay!
So I'm excited.
Except for the hooray for helping Elvish people.
Yeah, we shall see how this goes. As I said, it's the first time I've ever been in there. It was kind of funny because one of the first quests that I picked up was through the Epic, and, he said, go have, help so-and-so with some injured soldiers. And so I go around and, you do this, you have to click on each one or whatever, and then you have to talk to this one other person. I go to talk to this one other elf, and she's in the middle of a theatric when I find her, so I have to wait for her. She's moving from spot A to spot B. I have to wait till she gets to spot B. She walks to spot B, and in the process, she walks over a pack or something on the ground, kneels in midair, and starts administering some sort of salve or something from midair. I don't think this is a typical behavior of elven healers, but we're going to find out. So we'll see how Mirkwood goes. It's already proving to be interesting. Elves can apparently defy gravity now.
Well, just imagine it, because it's such as in the Peter Jackson movies where they show Legolas running on top of this. Actually, I think that's even in the books where Legolas runs on top of the snow.
There you go.
So yes, they're not exactly as in tune to gravity as we are.
I guess we will find out. I shall see as I go through. I also worked on leveling up my Bjorning, so we're at around level 15 or 16, I believe. I'm sorry, Terry. It's too much fun. I may have...
So disappointing.
I know. She's going to kick me off the show one of these days if I keep talking about Bjornings. I better be careful.
Stupid, overpowered furball.
But I may have abused the ferocious roar skill. Not because it gives you more wrath, but just because it's hilarious to see this quasi-human looking creature just give out this guttural yell. It's kind of fun. So anyway, I was probably a nuisance to everyone around me, but anyway, it was fun. Sanswinda, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I made it into Moria on a Nor, and that was pretty fun.
Was it really crowded?
Yeah, probably. I was in layers, so it wasn't bad. And yeah, I didn't go very far though, like just inside the threshold. And yeah, definitely finished my legendary item fight with the Watcher, perched on a kind of invisible ledge on the side of the cliff where the Watcher had flung me. So that was fun. being ranged as a hunter, I was like, yeah, this is good. I'll just stand up here. I didn't want to be close to the water anyway. So yeah, that was cool. And went raiding with Ploy again on Landerval, and that was a lot of fun. I died very many times due to Misadventure. More times than I was killed by the dragon. So, there's that. Yeah, there's gotta be a trick to it. But the dragon will do this belly flop and, like, send everybody flying. And sometimes I can manage to not go too high, and sometimes I go too high and drop from full health to 0 instantly. So, yeah.
Because the fall is too much, or?
Yeah, it says that you were injured by a fall. You've been incapacitated by Misadventure. And sometimes, like, pushing forward while I'm being thrown backwards seems to help some. But yeah, there's sometimes when, like, it hits, and, like, at the top point, it'll just incapacitate you and you'll, like, fall down already dead. And sometimes you'll just fall down, like, into an ice field, and that's pretty deadly too, because that's a wound, but that's easier to survive than the instant death from Misadventure, which is just annoying. Like, seriously, you're gonna throw me and make me run, and now I'm dead, like, miles away from the group because of where you threw me. But yeah, there were definitely more deaths due to Misadventure than Dragon. I guess Dragon caused Misadventure? Anyway. And then on the field trip on Friday, we made it out of Edoras with the second group of the field trip that I've been with to make it there. So, that was pretty fun.
Nice.
And that was at least 3 highlights from my week. How was your week, Terry?
Well, Axley, Xing and friends finished Mirkwood, so Arandis is just starting, and Axley and company is leaving. But yeah, we powered through all 4 Mirkwood skirmishes on Tuesday. And when I say powered through, I mean we really powered through them. It was like one after the other. And then, of course, you've got your 2 things in the middle between the last 2 skirmishes. And then we just went ahead and did the battle in the tower, which always manages to annoy me because stupid orc. Stupid Mazog. I want to kill him so bad. That was hilarious, actually, because of the way that room pulled. What was it? A wretched falconer that we had in that room before Mazog? Yeah, it was. So we had a wretched falconer was the one lieutenant that was in the room with Mazog. So, and he doesn't aggro until you've killed everything else in the room. So he basically just stood there and watched us beat the crap out of this guy and his birds. And then he activates and he's like, and he sounds all surprised to see us. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We've been here for like 5 minutes trying to kill this guy. And now you're surprised to see us? What the heck?
That was pretty funny. And then his one guy who was helping and then turned green and died walking away from us. That was pretty great too.
Yeah, Pineleaf had gotten a bleed because it's a pine trap, so it's a trappy hunter Pineleaf that's with us in that group, and had gotten the barbed arrow on one of the orcs. I
think he had like 3 or 4 bleeds on him once he was walking away.
I don't even know, because the guy's like, he's at like half health and he turns green and walks away, and I'm like, seriously? And we're not even paying attention to Mazog at that point because he's just going on and on. And we're just watching this orc walk away, and his health is going down. And he actually died before he reached the door because of the bleeds that were on him. And we're like, okay, we can live with that. And then we had to wait for Mazog to finish talking, and the whole drama of the dwarf, whatever. Anyway, it finally got over with, so we could finish that. So yay, we are out of Mirkwood. And then the Pineleaf trap, the trappy pine trap hunter, ported us to Rivendell, where we got to talk to Elrond or, follow him around his library while he talked about rangers. And I got to be irritated all over again by the fact that Gallaudet is still in Angmar.
Yeah.
That just bothers me. That's just bad management right there on somebody's part. And I'm blaming Kalinglad because of all the Rangers to just drop the ball. Kalinglad is definitely the one to do it because he's obsessed with what's her name, the blue lady. Which, by the way, guys, we get to sit through that awful instance coming up as we assemble the Rangers that we deserve an apology for. The Kalinglad bidding her farewell, and she basically calls him a hamster. So yay! Looking forward to that again in a couple weeks. Fun. Yeah, so we followed Elrond around while he talked about Rangers. But yes, it still bothers me that Gallaudet is still in Angmar. Like, that's gotta be traumatizing to still be there. I mean, whose idea was it to leave him there? Because you figure they've had enough time to get him out of there. Because the Fellowship's been through Moria and Mirkwood and whatnot and gone on to Rohan, so it's been a couple weeks since that whole mess up in Angmar. And, they could have brought him out of there. Bring him to Bree or even Esteldine. I mean, I know the place isn't a secret, so get him away from Karn Doom. He shouldn't still be there. Yeah. And then, so yeah. In other news, my Laurel Terry, I mentioned I've been playing my Laurel Terry. Laurel Terry got to level 50, still working her way through Volume 1, but took a break from Volume 1 because she hit level 50 and went down to Eregion so that she could open up Moria and get her first LI. And in the process of running the expedition quests, which, by the way, I wasn't going to try and do those early because on a melee character, they kind of suck to do those early. But doing them at level 50, like on level, and then you get to level 51 while doing them, you really feel like a boss doing those. Especially as a melee character, because you can hit stuff, and it's awesome. So she got her first LI and ran the Thievery and Mischief skirmish to get it leveled up, and had the first 10 levels, well, like around the halfway point of Thievery and Mischief, so that was cool. So she's opened up Moria and is standing endurance threshold, which is where I logged her off so that I could do the show. Yeah, that was pretty much it, because light week for me. Pineleaf, what were you up to this week?
I will begin with my Honor Warden, who completed the level 45 class quest, the one that sent you all over Eriador.
How many things did you buy from the skirmish camp?
Alright, what I did, of course I did the stuff that you had to kill the people. Then I went to Sarnir to get the claws from the nails from the cave claws.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, I believe, was... Okay, one of them was on the far side of Forhel, where I was a long way before I was going to get there, and the other two were on the far side of Angmar, which would be a couple of weeks before the epic takes me there. Or I shouldn't... Yeah, before the epic will allow me into that section of it. So those last three items I went to get skirmish camp for. I decided I would get the one through killing the mobs for the ones that were available for places that were reachable for me at the time. So therefore I went to Sarnir, and since I went to Sarnir, that meant that I also finished up my Thorns Hall rep. So
Yay,
now,
goat!
yes,
That's because it kind of rains clickies.
It rains clickies, all right. So I got my goat for Thorns Hall, and now what I'm doing is I'm going to use the Thorns Hall goat for Moria, but when I'm on the landscape in snowy mountainous areas, such as the Misties and stuff like that, I'm using the white goat that I bought on the account because I think that's really nice looking, I think, on the snowy scapes. Now, concerning how I'm doing on World Renown, one of my challenges for this year is to get World Renown on this character. And my rule is I cannot buy clickies at the skirmish camp or in the auction house or anything like that. I have to get them through questing and the like. And so far I've got 7 out of the 11. Of the 4 that I have left, 2 of them are in Enid White, the Grey Company and the Enid White group. Plus I have Forgel, where I am currently acquaintance. And I'm just in the early parts of Forgel there, so it's going to be a little while before I finish that one up. And of course, Angmar, the Council of the North, where I haven't even crossed the line yet. So obviously I'm nowhere near in completing that one. But I figure I'm on a pretty good track in order to get world renowned by the end of the year, seeing how I've got 7 of them done before the end of March. Now, as for my burglar gained the war steed. So I'm obviously yay on
Burglar
that.
War Steed is awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
How many times have you used disguise so far?
So far, I've only used it once, and that was a demo because I haven't really done much questing with the War Steed yet because we're just
Fair.
getting started. And remember, I'm also doing a YouTube series with the burglar. Therefore, I don't want to be too out of character on things. Yes, disguise when it fits what I'm doing. If it doesn't fit what I'm doing at the time, then I won't be using it. But most likely, when I won't be using it is probably when I'm not on a war steed anyway. So it's sort of going to be moot.
I mean, it's really useful when you're riding around enemy mobs and, trying not to attract too much attention to yourself. And it
Right.
automatically disappears when you get into a town, so.
Yeah, that's a good point on there.
Yeah,
I
because
think-
most towns don't let you use War Steed skills, so it actually will disable the disguise automatically.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Incidentally, it's very cool that disguise also manages to fool mobs that it shouldn't really fool, like the boars and beasts and whatnot that shouldn't really care whether you're an orc or a human.
Yeah, some of them
But
I
they
think
don't
would
attack
be,
you either.
you sometimes think that the boars would be even meaner against the orcs because
I know, right?
Oh well. Then on Friday Night Fight, we ran several skirmishes on there. We started out with Attack at Dawn, and we were doing that we did that at level 120. At the time we started it, we had 4 120s, a 116, and that was it. About after taking 3 or 4 control points, we had another 120 join us. So we had 5 120s and a 116, and I thought we would be able to reasonably breeze through a tier 1 skirmish with a group like that, and looks like we had a mishmash of characters there. We're probably taking our secondaries or something like that because we were struggling through there. And we barely got through that. We then ran the 3 Dol Guldur skirmishes. We ran those at 119, and that was a little bit better, though there were still a couple of bad incidents, such as when the Frigid Squall just managed to get an explosion out and wiped out 2 of our characters as a result. I noticed, though, I think it was the Minstrel and the 116 that got blown up by that. So the 2 with the lowest morale, which makes sense on that. Those Frigid Squalls are a real pain. We currently have 21 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week, we have a feature comment from Calbrati of Crick Hollow. And Terry, what does Calbrati say?
Calbrati says, hopefully a simple question. Are there any websites, videos, podcasts y'all recommend for new players to help understand the basics of how each class works? I have been trolling through the old Academy podcasts while at work and was hoping to either have more material to look at or hear that those old podcasts still have relevance. Episode 1, I would imagine, is out of date, for instance. Academy did start a series about the classes, but we only got to, Captain, I think? Through Captain?
Yeah, we didn't get very far.
We didn't get for.
Honestly, the best reference is probably going to be Twitch. You can find just about clips of just about anything on Twitch. If you pop into the official podcast, regardless of who's streaming, you can usually ask questions there, and folks are pretty good about sending you references, whether it be clips or videos or other information you can listen to or read.
Dady often has a guide that would be helpful, at least about some aspect. I don't know for all the classes, but I know that a lot of my questions are answered there. As I'm starting off new classes, that's one of the first places I look.
All right, anyone else have any suggestions? We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, LOTRO Players @LOTRO Arandas @Arandas, Pineleaf @PineleafNeedles, Sandwinda @Sandwinda, and TerryAdwin @TerryAdwin. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And you can join us for our shows at lootplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is PineleafNeedles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.